All right, welcome back, everyone. This is going to be part three of Dylan and I's week one picks. So we get three more games left here. So jumping in here, this should be a good one. Texans Rams. Now, the big concern, I guess, this game and the whole season for the Rams is Stafford's back. Uh, how is his back going to hold up? That's been a concern, and now apparently they're going to have to manage it throughout the season. McVay said he expects Stafford to play week one a bit earlier today, a couple hours ago. So obviously that's good for the Rams. The fact that it's in LA, even though the Rams maybe don't have the best home showing when it comes to like their opponent's a big market team. Obviously, it helps that it's not on the road in Houston. This is a coin flip game for me. I think the Texans defense is going to have a good game, but I think if assuming Stafford is good to go, and he's one of the tougher quarterbacks in the league, so hopefully he's good to go. I think the Rams offense will do just enough more than the Texans offense. I think the Rams defense is one of the sleeper defenses going into the year. I just on the or rather at home, I'm gonna lean Rams. I would not at all be surprised if the Texans win, but I just trust the Rams more. I think the Rams are gonna be a very good team this year. I actually have them going on a bit of an underdog run, making it to the Super Bowl on my picks this year. Again, that's assuming Stafford's healthy. Texans, I think, will be kind of what we're used to. I have them at 11-6, 10, 11 wins, probably around there. Defense will play well. Stroud, hopefully, he has a bit of a bounce back year. Had a bit of a sophomore slump, you can say, last year. But yeah, I think this will be close. I'm gonna lean Rams though. Should be an entertaining game though.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not the biggest Stroud. I was the biggest Stroud guy when he came out from Ohio State. Um, I thought he was gonna have a great rookie year, and he had a great rookie year. I called him a top five quarterback the next year, and he completely made me realize that Bryce Young was probably a better quarterback. I am so high on Bryce Young compared to CJ Stroud now. I am an absolute Stroud hater now. I do not know why. I think I was so high on him, and then he just ruined my morale for him. Not a Stroud guy. I actually have the Rams winning this game. I do have the Rams winning this game, but I have them winning 26 to 14. I don't know. I'm not a believer in the Stroud regime. I think their offensive line also got a little bit more depleted from last year. I think we just saw Laramie Tunsil leave, and he went somewhere. I think he went to the Commanders. So
Yeah,
Laramie Tunsil is now in the Commanders. That's a blindside protector for CJ Stroud, in which how is that going to look this year? I am just not. I'm so confused with what the front office is doing to try and benefit Stroud this year. Um, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where this. I'm just not a believer in the Texans this year. I think they're going to be one of the biggest fallers this year as well. I don't see them winning even 10 games. I have the Rams this year. Definitely going further than the Texans. Give me the Rams 26 to 14. I also think that the addition of Devontae Adams and Puka coming into this year as um, another great weapon, along with Kyron. What's going to happen with Blake Corum. I am huge on the Rams this year. I think Stafford has a lot of options, and I still believe in Stafford. I think Stafford's a better quarterback than Stroud. Give me Stafford and the Rams.
yeah. I mean, Devontae Adams is obviously that is a huge signing for them. Maybe you can argue he isn't, quite. He maybe is a bit of a drop in production compared to what he used to be with the Packers, but then you can argue, who's been throwing him the ball at the same time. I think that's an ideal scenario for him in this the Rams offense here. McVay will definitely utilize him well. And then obviously you get Puka, as you just mentioned, Kyron Williams. And then their defense, as I mentioned, I'm kind of high on their defense. I thought it was going to be, especially their pass rush, because Aaron Donald retired going into last year. It was pleasantly surprising. They played really well defensively. I think they'll be better this year. And then the Texans, that Tunsil trade, you can argue is a bit of a head scratcher because their line was obviously a significant issue last year. And then you just trade Tunsil, your best lineman. So that's a head scratcher move. Christian Kirk, I actually think they picked him up. He's a solid signing, I think, for the for the Texans, and obviously you get Nico Collins. Yeah, the Texans, I could see them falling off a bit, but D'Amico Ryans, I think that defense will play extremely well. I drafted their defense as one of my leagues, so they'll probably fall off a cliff with that in mind. But yeah, could go either way. But I'm super high on the Rams this year. We're both going the Rams in this one.
I will say this about that matchup. I wish that the front office gave us more, like, prove me wrong. Like, Stroud has to prove me wrong for me to jump back on the bandwagon. Like, build that offensive line up. Make sure that, like, Stroud's put in a good situation. Like, okay, so what? You signed Joe Mixon and you signed Nick Chubb this year for that Texans offense. Like, I don't see how that's like a huge like jump in a change compared to I just don't, I'm just not a believer in the Texans. It's actually quite frustrating because I think that Stroud in the right situation is going to be a great quarterback. The problem is the offensive line. Like, we saw that Ravens defense, I think it was last year, just completely destroy that offensive line. It's not like they have like anybody except Matabuke or like anybody like that's like that outstanding. Like, I'm just not a believer in what the front office did to support CJ Stroud this year. I don't know what's going on, but the ownership really has to you know prove me wrong this year, and I need to see something from Stroud and to show that they actually care about him.
Yeah. Yep. Good points there. Um, oh boy, this could be a battle. Rematch the divisional round last year, which we both I remember I think we both agreed that, at least I believe that the Ravens really beat themselves more than the Bills beat them in the divisional round. This game could go either way. I feel like these teams both start at 1-0 like automatically every year. It feels like, so it's like something's gonna give here unless they tie somehow. Uh, can go either way. It being in Buffalo, obviously that favors the Bills. I'm sure. This is the Sunday night game. I'm pretty sure this is the Sunday night game. So obviously that crowd is going to be going crazy. I'm going to, however, go with the Ravens here. The Ravens, to me, this is like their year. I have them winning the whole thing. I had them beating the Rams in the Super Bowl in my preseason predictions video. And I don't know, the Ravens to me, just I'm feeling them this year. A lot of people are too. I thought I might be, you know, maybe not. I know a decent amount of people would have picked the Ravens, but it seems like a good amount are more than I would have thought are picking the Ravens to win the Super Bowl this year. The Bills, I think, will probably be what they always are, regular season juggernaut, like a 12-win team. I think I have them at 12-5. Win the wild card, then run into the Chiefs in the playoffs, and then we all know what happens when they play the Chiefs in the playoffs. The Ravens, to me, just I guess you could say any team they match up well against, but especially the Bills. The Bills last year really had a tough time stopping the run. We saw the first matchup, Derrick Henry went absolutely crazy against them. And then in the divisional round, he still played pretty good, but the Ravens just made a bunch of mistakes. And the Bills obviously won. I'm just feeling the Ravens. My gut's telling me Ravens. I'm going to go with my gut here. But obviously, picking against the Bills, week one, Sunday Night Football in Buffalo, it's a bit bold. But I'm going to go with my gut here. I'm going to say the Ravens win in a close game here.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, when you look at this game from like a distance, right? And I'm looking from the outside point of view. I would say if this game was in like December or January, I think we might have a different story here. I am also going to lean the Ravens as well. I think that, this is like I am just not a believer in the weapons that Josh Allen has. Like, okay, Shakir, he's a good slot guy. Keon Coleman, I am very intrigued to see what he can do in this second year. I think he could take that next step, and I think he could be a big, vital piece to that Bills offense. But I need to see it first to believe it. I think that's where I'm at with that. Like Kincaid's in, however many years he's been there, like 3 or 4. But I think that this year I am, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews slash Likely, like these guys are just built for, Lamar on the legs. Like, there's so much optimism for, I think, Baltimore this year. And I think they're kind of getting sick and tired of the noise. I really like to see them go in here on Sunday Night Football and just make a statement against one of the best teams in the AFC. I mean, I really think this could be like your AFC Championship matchup. You know, later in the season when we're really talking about it. But you have two of the best teams, and I think that if this was a later in the season game, um, in cold weather, I think we might have a different story. I think that the Bills are just used to it and like they thrive in their environment of, snowy, cold weather. But I think in a summer, pretty much summer game in week one, I have to go with the Ravens. I think they're just better everywhere, pretty much. Um, you know, I like the Ravens defense as well. Give me the Ravens.
Yeah, and like I was just saying that divisional round game, obviously the Ravens have been forgotten that game. They're going to be pissed off that obviously they lost that game. I mean, they probably feel, I think even one of their players, I might be wrong here, but I think one of their players may have said, like, we greatly handed them that game. Like, we made some mistakes ourselves. So, and they get a chance to redeem themselves week one at the same team in primetime Sunday night on the road, too. So they'll have that in the back of their minds rolling around, I'm sure. But yeah, pretty. I think this will be a pretty close game either way. This will definitely be a type of game where I think both defenses get some stops, both offenses have some drives, so they look pretty good. But I just think the Ravens honestly will have a better defense than the Bills in this game and probably overall this year. And I just trust I don't know. I just trust the Ravens a bit more in
I
this
think another
field.
storyline as well, if you're looking at it, is the MVP race from last year. Like I think people thought that Lamar was probably going to win the MVP with 41 touchdowns and maybe like 4 picks or 6 picks or something like that. Just a great year, one of the best of his career. And somehow it went to Josh Allen. There was arguments about Saquon getting it too, but I mean the MVP is really just coming down usually to just quarterbacks in this era. We really don't see like running backs win MVP anymore. But I will say that I think the storyline after when it's all said and done, we're gonna see, oh, Ravens, Lamar, the MVP race and all that. Like I think it's just gonna be a whole storyline. I think that the I think the Ravens are gonna make a statement in this one. I have the Ravens 24-20. But I would not be surprised to see like a late game score to where it like extends the lead to like 10. And the Ravens come in and they make a statement on Sunday night in front of the entire country. So I'm pretty excited about this one. I'm gonna go with the Ravens though.
Mhm. Okay. Then the Monday night football game, Vikings Bears. Now this is gonna be this is a tough one. I've gone so back and forth on this game. Talk about crowds being crazy in prime time. The Bears, we talked about it with our teams. The Bears certainly have a sense of optimism. I mean, even last year, even though obviously they went 5-12, it was everyone thought they were going to at least contend for a playoff spot. So they failed last season as far as expectations for the most part. They still had a pretty solid roster for the most part, and they were about to be 5-2 had the Commanders not gotten that Hail Mary. And then who knows? That Hail Mary like ruined their season. They lost every game except Week 18, except after that Hail Mary. I didn't think that was going to derail their season, but I guess it did. Uh, New sense of optimism. You get Ben Johnson, which talks about was like the hire. Caleb Williams, obviously that is an ideal hire for him. He's going to greatly help Caleb's developmental work, I think. The offense is pretty good. They got Loveland in the draft. Look out for him. I get him in a couple leagues, so hopefully he has a good year. Not a lot of people talking about the defense. Dennis Allen obviously did not work out as a head coach. I think he's actually a really good defensive coordinator, and apparently, like the reports out of training camp are that the Bears defense is like playing extremely well. Like there's not a lot of adjustments, or not adjustments. Players trying to adjustment pains. What I mean here. There's not a lot of that. They're fitting right into the Dennis Allen system. So the Bears defense, look out, they might be under the radar good this year. Obviously, everyone's focusing on the offense with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. I am going to go with the Bears at home here. I talked about it in my full season predictions video. I do not feel at all confident in this prediction, but I only have the Vikings at 9-8. Now, on paper, they got better, like pretty much everywhere. It's just, and I don't even want to say necessarily like it's going to be JJ McCarthy. He's the question, but I don't want to say he's the reason they like significantly they lose or they win five less games. I just think probably his inexperience is going to cost them not necessarily a game, but a big play in a game or two. I do think he'll probably have a really good year though. Kevin O'Connell's like sort of a quarterback whisperer. We saw what he did with Sam Darnold last year. I just think there's going to be, I don't know. I think there'll be close games. The Vikings lose. They won pretty much all of them last season. I think they'll drop some this year. And I think the defense is Brian Flores. I think it'll be one of the better units, but I think it might take a slight dip in production. Same with the offense. Justin Jefferson, I think he's good to go, but he's got a bit, I want to say it's a hamstring injury, but I'm not 100% sure on that. They got Thielen back to plug in because Addison suspended the first three games. I think there's going to be games this season where the Bears offense looks great. It's going to look like not look like the Lions offense, but have like, similar efficiency. And then there's going to be games where, you can tell it's a work in progress. I think this is going to be one of the games where the offense really clicks. They're going to get off to a fast start. Then the Vikings are going to battle back. It'll be close, but I think the Bears are going to hold on in the end, get a big win to open their season.
Yeah, I think, one of the biggest storylines is honestly that offensive line that the Bears have, that revamped offensive line versus the Vikings revamped defensive line. I mean, that is a battle in the trenches. I mean, you have guys, key additions on that Vikings defense, and you also have the key additions on the Bears defense as well. I what is Ben Johnson going to do to get Caleb Williams going on the on week one home in a hot in a great environment that's going to help you out. I am all in on this Bears team this year, and I am going to pick them to beat the Vikings week one. I think that they come in into this game, and I think they established Caleb Williams and his talent. I am very excited to see Caleb Williams and the new Ben Johnson scheme because we talk about it a lot. Like coaching is the difference a lot of the times. There's still a lot of question marks about JJ McCarthy. I'm not the biggest JJ McCarthy guy. I know he's been looking decent in preseason, and he even looked decent last year in preseason before he broke his foot. But you know, this is not a this is not a bad defense. The Bears defense is pretty good, and it's probably in a top 10, honestly. Top 10, you could probably rate it like 7 or 8. The main focus, of course, of that Vikings offense is Justin Jefferson. Sam Darnold, I mean, last year, I mean, really took Justin Jefferson to a whole nother level, helped him out a little bit. The same thing with, you know, I mean, I am just so all in on this Bears team with the defense, with offense, and that revamped offensive line. Like, I wish that the Texans did the same thing the Bears did this year, with revamping that offensive line. I know it went back to the Texans, but I am all in on the Bears this year. Bear down, giving the Bears to, I mean, spoiler alert, I have them probably winning like 9 or 10 games. I'm very high on this Bears team, and I think anything can happen in a football season. And I think we saw that a lot last year with, the Commanders winning all those games with a rookie quarterback. Well, how about a rookie head coach coming in and transforming that franchise that has been at the bottom of the barrel the last, I mean, 25 years. I mean, this is going to be a whole new Bears team, and I'm very excited. Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, 2025, 2026 regime. I'm expecting playoffs.
Yeah, they, oh boy. And the Tar Heels just threw a pick six. Yeah, Belichick's not going to like that one. Anyway, yeah, the Bears have yeah, I mean, I'm high on the Bears too. I only have them at 8 and 9, but like you said, I would not at all be surprised if they win like 9, 10 games, sneak into the playoffs. I definitely think they'll at least be in contention, like probably going into the last week of the season for the playoffs. Yeah, Caleb Williams, I think he'll take a big jump this year. I don't think he'll go crazy and throw like 45 touchdowns. But I think he'll take a nice, a big jump. It kind of reminds me of the potential like Jared Goff. His rookie year with Jeff Fisher was obviously a disaster, and then the next season, McVay's first year in the league, the Rams were one of the better teams in the league. Their offense was, everyone was very impressed with their offense. Goff looked great. He looked like, the top pick that he was. You can argue kind of the same thing with Caleb Williams. Obviously, it did not go according to plan with Eberflus. The offense was kind of a mess for most of last year. I could see him taking like the leap that Goff had from his rookie year, especially because he's got some good weapons too. He's got Moore, Dunze, Loveland, Swift in the backfield. He might have a big year. Yeah, the Bears are very dangerous. They get a lot of weapons. Um,
Yeah, I
okay.
mean, that's the thing is, I mean, I can go on and on about the Bears, and I think they really do win this one. I have it 24-17. And yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all the games. We got all of them here. Just double check. Looks like we're on the same page for most of these games here as far as the winners of all of them. So yeah, looks like an entertaining slate for the most part. There's really, I guess this Cardinal Saints might be ugly. That's really the only game Titans Broncos might be a bit ugly. Besides that, I think all these games should be pretty entertaining. Um,
yeah. Look at how many divisional games there are. I mean, there's the first two. I mean, you have the Eagles, Cowboys, Chargers, Chiefs. Like it's crazy how many divisional games there are this year in week one. So the NFL had a plan. And I mean, if their plan was to get everybody to watch these games, they really did a good job with that because, I mean, these are really competitive divisional games.
yeah, week one game, especially division games, can be weird because they really obviously if it's a division game, every game matters, especially division games. I mean, week one, you're still figuring things out. Things can be weird. Anything can happen week one. If you lose that game, it could really, you know, affect you down the line. So should be interesting. It usually takes about like, I would say in between 4 to like 7-ish weeks till you see the teams that are like, the top tier teams. Then the teams, it's like, oh, is this team good? Are they bad? You start to figure that stuff out more. But
Yeah, I think it's also something with the NFL trying to see with teams being at their healthiest. I think week one, week two, week three, like teams are at their healthiest, so they want to see like the best competition and the best um, players out there when it happens. When you have a game like on Christmas, you don't know who the quarterback's going to be about by that time because anything can happen in a football season. Lamar is a running quarterback, Josh Allen's a running quarterback. Like these guys who get outside the tackles and take hits, like you never know what's gonna happen in a football season. So like we have like all these record predictions like right now that could change in 2 weeks for us. I mean, that's just how unpredictable football is. I'm gonna go with the NFL here. I think they are looking at these week one divisional games as like good opportunities for great football.
yep. Um, but yeah, I think we'll wrap things up here. Went through all the games. I think we did a pretty solid job, I would say. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to check out the first two parts if you're interested. We only did, I think, 3 games in this part. We did the rest from the other 2 parts. So be sure to check out those 2 games. Otherwise than that, thank you guys for tuning in. Enjoy football and take it easy, guys.